out by the Prowler. Nightfall is perfect. Wow, what a shot.
Huge from T-Dog. Logan inside the smoke. This timing is everything. It is going to get some ropes control. Nerve still staying alive on the site. Barrier orb goes up, but no one checks for Logan from behind. So now the spike is down. Rotation coming through for Timo. And Qbert are not going to try to play the 2v1 versus Logan. They're going to instead try to play for this plant and hold on to the barrier orb position. Scuba still holding on. There's the smoke. Logan with the win, though. Just down to Knights for the 1v2. Not in a position to see this. And as he crosses passes on barrier orb, Timo connects, and Core Gaming takes split to send this to a map 3.
That was a very impressive win by Core. On map 1, they were in the game by virtue of insane heroics. Map 2, I think the team play, the fundamentals specifically, were just better than Qbert, which is very surprising, especially when we got into that second half, those late rounds. Qbert were just very indecisive, players having different ideas as to how they wanted to approach a lot of the situations, whereas Core pretty much stuck to the game plan, the trust in each other, the swings for each other were really great. Just the fundamentals on point. They look good.
Yeah, I think it's mostly in the mid-rounding as well. Like you said, I think in particular, again, you're trusting on the individuals to at least get one. Often they come away with more than that. And then a quick rotation over as soon as you get that commitment call is allowing Core Gaming just to stifle so many of these executes from Qbert. So, wow, we have an overtime affair on Haven. Not quite the case here on map number 2, as Qbert and Core are going to go all the way to 3 on the backside of this break. Don't go far.
뭐해?
Yeah, to be honest, I don't know the exact reason. If I had to actually guess, it just comes down to the idea of not keeping Redux on a bench. So he gets to play in the league. He kind of gets to, not that he like runs the team or anything like that, but you know, he's like making content. He's still like, you know, definitely like a leadership role like on the team. But it just seems like a good opportunity for him, a win-win situation where he gets to play, keep getting better, you know, stay kind of like fit per se, like playing the game, and then 4 other people that he thinks are, you know, are on like a VCT level, maybe close to a VCT level, you know, we get to kind of like train, band together, and, you know, who knows, come towards the end of the season, you know, we might go all of our separate ways to different teams, maybe we'll join a team, you know, it's really like up in the air, but, you know, shout out Sentinels to making it happen, because, you know, without them, the teacher scene is, you know, in big trouble. There's like a couple other orgs, like, you know, Shopify, M80, you know, that are dope, that, you know, have teams and stuff like that. TSM, obviously, shout out TSM. But it's just good to see that people still care about, you know, players who aren't in the VCT scene, because, you know, without that, you're not going to be able to get, you know, any new people. It's just going to be a really random system. We're definitely looking to just like make our wins like cleaner. So, you know, where we had like a couple like close maps there, and it's mainly just through, you know, might just be, you know, us making mistakes as individuals, maybe forgetting about like the bigger picture, not relying on the things that we normally rely on, you know, giving the opponent too much respect. So again, just defining that stuff and working on it over the coming weeks will be the main thing. But I think that we're in a good form this season. The main thing that I want us to make sure that we do is just like take care of ourselves. So don't like, you know, have some like freak episode where you're trying to play the game for 14 hours a day every day. It's like, it's one of the worst things that you can do, like when you're in the season. In the off season, you know, it can be like different. If you want to like grind to get better, you can, but like in the season, you gotta like pace yourself. You can't be sitting there playing as much as humanly possible.
Well, every time we've seen Core on this map, they've gotten a little bit better each time. And well, that's going to pay off in spades as when it matters most, getting the victory over Qbert Academy, taking us to a map 3 on the day. Honestly, this is just insane. Like, Roy, at some point I said, I don't even feel like I understand this game anymore. I don't know what's happening. Like, what's going on?
I don't know what it is about Core specifically, but I swear every one of their matches just devolves into madness. Like, there's just something in the air whenever the Core players are in the server. You got the breach opping, and then just hell breaks loose from there. Something is going on. I don't know. We need to investigate. I need to put Wyatt to work because he put me to work last time. Maybe we need to have Wyatt investigate what's going on in the air here.
Dude, if anything, you were talking about the amount of reps here that Core is able to get on these maps, and you're able to see it. You know what's good? You know what happens when you do a lot of exercise on one thing? You get to work on your core.
Oh, a little hypertrophy.
No, but jokes aside, they did look a lot cleaner than they did in the first map on Haven. And on top of that, you got as much shenanigans as you did in terms of hero plays, but as a lot more developed in terms of how they worked around that map. The lurks were very good. Nurse found some very good timings across the map as well. So overall, I just think that, again, it's one of those moments where you could get sort of figured out with the composition that you're pulling out here from the side of Qbert Academy, and they exploited that quite well here for Core with the amount of post-plan opportunities you're able to get.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. Also, for me specifically, when I'm watching Core and I just see them sitting in these setups and they're completely trusting each other and they're not really like breaking it, they just look very calm, very collected, and they absolutely trust their retake. So for me, that's a sign that they're like very confident, that they trust the game plan. They kind of have an idea of how they're approaching it and what Qbert is trying to accomplish, and I think they're doing a very good job just reading them out, and it feels like they really do have their cards.
Yeah. But just watching the last 2 maps as well, it almost feels like their game plan for Core is starting to look readable as well. It's not every time that it happens, but whenever Core has opportunities to be a lot more explosive and have like big ults to work with or good stall utility that's still available, they love to play utility to allow Timotino to get inside sight, but also play that solo inside the site as well. So he's going to call, I need help here in terms of util. He gets his 1, he gets his 2, and then the rest plays like the type of stall in terms of like sucks or like just util in the end, to just not allow players to get into the diffuse on the side of Qbert Academy. So I think if anything, if you're looking at what happened as well, Roy, I think you agree with me as well. We were watching this game where sometimes we're wondering why Qbert felt so hesitant, so scared, and not as assertive as the super team should be to disrespect these type of like setups that are, you're giving a lot of time for Core to set up actually, and they shouldn't at that point. And I think that's going to help them going to the 3rd map.
Yeah, there's 2 things that are happening. They're doing that, and they're also just allowing Core to run an entire game plan on them. Like, you have this team that's basically superstars in every role, right? Like, Knightsy's obviously he's kind of an unknown factor coming into this league, but now we kind of understand what he brings to the table. But I mean, overall, you have T-Dog on IGL, very experienced, Redux, upcoming star, Scuba, insane controller, and of course Nismo, one of the most prominent. I mean, he's the vet in the league. But you have all these players, but you're playing ultra passive, and you're just allowing the enemy team to just run circles around you, when I feel like you should be getting a little bit more involved in the rounds and in the outcomes, and not really allowing them to just kind of run their full script. So I mean, that being said, shout out to Core, because I think they're doing a phenomenal job. And within Core, I think specifically on Split, Tino had a lot of impact on the duelist, yes, but Darkest had so much impact on the initiator role, and they have Snarly to just anchor things down. Like, how many rounds did we see Snarly just anchoring sites, getting multiple frags? There's no trades. There's not a lot of like spatial pressure on Snarly that's just allowing him to just sort of free flow and do what he does best, which is hold stuff down.
Yeah, just one of those moments too where they were discoordinated on the side of Qbert Academy that you could take advantage from. Like, these 3 players rather could take advantage of is like one of those retake rounds where you're going for executes again to try to flood through. They go for a Rolling Thunder, but on top of that, they throw a Cosmic Divide along that wall as well. So anybody that got hit towards that B side by the map was just unaffected by that ult because there was a Cosmic Divide. There was no way that they were going to get shut down by their opponents. So that is some of the things that Qbert Academy definitely will have to start cleaning up here going into that 3rd map, because you showed tenacity on that 1st map. This should have been the confidence for you winning the 2nd map quite easily, and you let that falter, and it was a one-sided affair on the side of Core.
Yeah, it was a lack of confidence kind of from the get-go, even in some of the situations where Qbert was up numbers. and just overly respecting Core. Like, Core definitely has some shooters on the team, so like they deserve definitely some of this respect. But when you're talking about this Qbert Academy with all of these top players, this team that's the #1 seed, and a team too that over the past couple of weeks have had the time off since they managed to secure a playoff spot a little sooner. It's interesting that going into this series, and since we didn't see that confidence then going into the second map, for Core, this is the underdog team. They're the ones that actually can make ascension. I feel like this confidence that they've had, that's actually something that we can see now in this upcoming map with Lotus. One that we have seen from them. We've seen a couple of different looks from them. And for Qbert Academy, well, Roy, we have nothing on them on this map.
Yeah, we have no idea what to expect. I don't even know. I can't even begin to even predict what kind of meta they're going to run, because there's so many ways you could go right now. I mean, we're technically in like the most... Yeah, you think so?
Yeah, I think so.
I think we're in like one of the most malleable metas we've had. Like there's so many variants of duelists you can run. There's so many variants of initiators you can run. Obviously, Tejo, Breach getting preferred by a lot of these teams, but there really is a lot of flexibility in what Sentinel you're running, what duelist are you running, what controller are you running. There's just so much malleability, so it's hard for us to know. But yeah, going into Lotus, I do think it's going to be an interesting matchup, specifically just because we know that it's been a good map for Core. They've looked very comfortable on the map.
And sorry, I want to pick it back on that as well, because you were talking about a 3-week preparation time, you know, that Qbert Academy kind of had because they qualified a long time ago. So now you have 3 weeks of prep they're able to do. You're able to bring this onto Lotus, where you have some good tape onto Core, because Core, although they went 3-0 on this map this season, they still had to play a lot of rounds. So now you have a great understanding of how they could of how you could approach this map. And you could not necessarily counter it, but you just know the tendencies of what Core is going to go for in a type of like more default comp. Oh, I mean, they had 3 different comps, but more recent one was a little more default, right? Exactly. So it's going to be a lot here for Core to get ready for, because Qbert Academy could definitely come out with like that secret move here that's unattended for.
I mean, even if they have the secret move, like I'm looking at the execution for it, because within this series, it's been Core to then, in these clutch situations, be able to take those little upsets. That was a Haven that they had that opportunity to close it out and just missed out. So when we're looking back at the series, the fact that they closed out that second map pretty cleanly and they missed that opportunity on Haven, Qbert Academy, even if they have something up their sleeve, like, I don't know if I'm necessarily a believer in this moment. Like I need to see the turnaround. Like, this is Qbert Academy we're talking about.
Yeah. If anything, though, we're looking at this, and I'll pass it back to Roy after. I think the whole chaos and how they were like throwing these 2v5s and these 3v5s for Qbert on the first map, I think that's gone now, because those generators are gone. It was a little bit better here on Split, and now again, you've been playing the last 2 maps where you're pulling out like a Breach Tejo, plus any duelist that you want pretty much for Redux. They could do this again right now here on Lotus. So your approach is going to be very similar once again, and then you get into the third map, and then boom, you're able to clean up a little bit of that chaos that Core brings.
All right, well, Agent Select, I mean, Qbert, we have no idea what they're thinking of. Well, we have some idea considering tendencies. Core, we've seen 3 different looks. Getting into the map, Vance, right, that was a Tejo breach. Core, we're sticking with the last one. Roy, I want your thoughts here. Redux back on this Neon.
I think the Neon here is actually completely fine. I will say, though, kind of circling back to something that Vance brought up, is the fact that there is actually tape on Core, and they're playing a Sentyless comp. I think is going to be a little bit weird for the Core side, right? Because you have a very fast-paced comp that can easily push and pull you in many directions. And if they're not on top of these like gaps that they're going to be creating or leaving open, it's going to be extremely problematic. But that being said, I think Sentinels just needs to get their stuff together. I don't feel like they're playing a bad game. They need to secure the advantageous rounds, and they need to just play their game, get a little bit more loose, and just allow players to just do what they do best.
At this point, 3rd map in the series, all the cobwebs, should be good, should be fully warmed up. I'm excited to get into the Lotus and see what Qbert Academy is made of this map. And for Core, if they can, in fact, get this upset win, let's head in and head back to your casters, Wyatt and Shift, for the final time today.
I don't know, Wyatt, if we ever actually had cobwebs over this series. It's just been drama and chaos and just unexpected results. The only thing that we could really say, just to kind of piggyback off the desk, is, again, this has been a map that we have seen from Core quite a bit. It's been very successful for them. Hubert have not shown us this map yet in this stage.
And for some reason, Core, no matter what iteration of this team exists, they always seem to just love playing Sova on Lotus. It has always been a go-to Sentinel on a map where usually you see Fade over Sova if you're going for one of the information gathering initiators, but they've always preferred it. Definitely have to pay attention to the lack of Sentinel that Roy pointed out, though, and the fact that Hubert should be able to try and exploit that, given that Core just played this map the other day.
Very true. Well, the one Sentinel on the map in Hubert is in a little bit of trouble. Fault line does not affect him, though, and a little bit of assistance off the arc rows allows now an opportunity for Redux. Whoa, just trying to spam his way through. This is messy. I don't even know if there was a secondary flash there or not. It just looked like Hubert were trying to just burst through the doors, and Core say, no, thank you, we're not going to allow that to happen.
It seemed as well like Redux outpaced the paranoia that was supposed to come through. The timing there was just not correct. Door now being procced by Core with seemingly no intention of actually going through it and ending towards the C site.
It's another one of those protocol moments that we've talked about it a couple of times where Hubert just do not look like they are put together here on some of these executes that they've tried to put together. Fault line at the ready, though. T-Dog working with Knights, both of them together. Isolation is decent. Spam shot's also landing, but Knights will drop, leaving it now just down to T-Dog. 1v3, a couple of low health pulls in front of him, though. Shakes off the flash. Just too many players to deal with, though. Overwhelmed by sheer force of number. And Core Gaming shut down that retake attempt through mid and used that as a chance for Numbers to win their opening pistol.
Yeah, that was them down into the 4 versus 5. They have certainly won a lot of man disadvantaged situations today, but that felt like more of Hubert trying to do way too much than Core needing to pull some kind of heroics off to win out in that situation. They already got the pick, and then they just tried to force taking the fight even further, mistimed with a util. I believe Core have won the first pistol round on all 3 maps now.
Redux, throw him a shot, say, no, not right now, thank you. And that's enough for Hubert to kind of back down just a touch. I mean, they still hold some really significant ground here, front side at A main. But Core do have plenty of utility to try to flush this out, including very safely. They can just throw out an Aldrone if they want to.
The Redux wants to play this bait position, break the drone, and then Nismo can stay hidden, pop out later. But that's a dangerous position to be in now with a nade.
Yeah. Paint Shells flushes a lot of that out. Salvo behind this, though. Nismo is able to use that for an opportunity to kick down one. Juggle the weapon away. Do what they can to make sure that this weapon stays in the hands of the offense. 4v4. Now we're taking a long swing back over to C. Offensive pings are in. Knights does not really have any utility to play off of. This is just how tall can he stand on the backside of the site, and the Boombot actually connects on the Redux front side waterfall. Rare elimination for the Boombot, and that's enough for Core to get on site.
We now know that Knights is definitely playing towards halls as well, with the Archers coming through. Should be all easy cleanup for Core at this point. Should be all easy cleanup for Core at this point.
Decent salvo positions. Not enough to actually follow up for any eliminations, at least not immediately. Logan drops. Darkest able to connect, and Knights, just the classic. Yeah, nothing you can do with that. So follow up on the anti-eco is good, but this bonus will, well, not pack much of a punch. Vandal and an Outlaw is all that will carry into the next round.
That's pretty solid damage from Hubert Academy. Hold on. What is happening with this buy? I see a breach with an operator on attack. I can't say I'm not used to seeing a breach with an operator on attack.
Brother.
But it's rather the timing of it. We have the breach with the op on attack on the bonus, where we only have the Outlaw and the Vandal from the last round. What is the rest of this buy going to look like? Excuse me? The two sheriffs, an Outlaw, an op, and a... What is happening, man? And if this works, I will never comment. I will never say anything disparaging about the breach off ever again.
Well, we're about to find out. Initial contact good for Hubert. 5v4 immediately off the rip. Sheer wall has been placed the front side at C, with a smoke also in the way for the time being. Shock dart into the back corner of the site. Not really going to do too much to deter this defense, but does pull it around just a touch.
3 players from Hubert stacked up and ready to go. They want to defend this C site. In the meantime, T-Dog is in a bit of an awkward position at Rebel. He's on the run. Fast lane thrown out so he can make his escape to site.
Yeah, that's just a fault line paint shells combination, so it's pretty free for Core. Problem is the clock is starting to wear out now. Redux backing in towards the drop into A. The Tejo of Nismo is going to rotate over, but now there's smoke placement over towards B. The only person in place for this would be Nice. Paranoia cuts across the site, but the elevation allows Timo to get away from that for free. A couple of spam shots behind. Don't connect down to Redux. The spike does get planted, though. Darkest connects. Offensive operator play with the breach. Don't hate on it. Now you just got 2 scopes left, though, of your core. How do you get through this? Outlaw and an operator. Scuba gonna hop on for the defuse. Fault line coming out, but it gets to halfway. Smoke will dissipate. Flash gonna get popped on both sides. Hubert had to make the one, they're the ones who didn't make the move here. Scuba, once again, tries to hop on. Darkest connects for another. And now Scuba doesn't really have the opportunity just to hop on. He's got to find this next elimination. Darkest trying to get inside the dark cover. Hits the right click, but doesn't make a difference. The spike gets diffused anyways, and Cube will get on the board in dramatic fashion.
The first right click only connected 2 of the bullets, or that would have won them the round. Well, the attack op, it did some things. At least he saved it for the full buy as well. I think he cut off a rotate over on the lurking breach op. Cut off a rotator from A in the post plant. So close. If that right click killed him, they definitely win the round.
Unbelievable teams. It just never stops with these 2 teams. And Darkest will go back to the operator again. So odd. Timo's going to collect this orb and be 1 away from a showstopper as the approach towards A seems pretty imminent. You have a long lurk from Snarly just hanging out at mid. Smokes will exchange hands. Paranoia at the ready here for Scuba. Just throws it out proactively behind this Aldrone coming through. So, again, in terms of value, Core are going to be happy to have this, and even more so that Timo just blind fires through the smoke and connects onto Scuba.
Both teams have absolutely nothing left in the bank. So it's a must-win round for both sides as Core opt to cut noise after finding that first kill. Intentions of re-hitting on the C site, it seems. Waiting right now to see if anyone from Cuba tries to push out and get any information as to what's happening on this side of the map, but that will not be the case.
Here we go. Showstopper out. No one home, though, for the defense. So how deep can Timo get in towards C? Another smoke gets placed.
30 seconds
and just gets
left.
blindly thrown through. Not going to hold his ground there. It's going to let the smoke do the talking for him. Fault line quickly coming through, trying to use that as a way to combine with the Armageddon, and it does work out. Darkest will drop. Follow-up from Nismo is good on the backside of the play as well through Waterfall. Timo still inside the site. Oh, caught looking the wrong direction. And Hubert's retake has been clean. Enough ultimates used to make a complete mess in the post plant. Snarly overwhelmed as Knights will hop on for the fuse. We're tied at 2.
That was some great usage of that Armageddon in tandem with the fault line, getting that stun.
My ultimate's ready.
And Nismo as well, that swing, he had a really lovely kill onto Logan. That quick headshot when he swung down Waterfall. Really well played. And again, it's just Hubert going back to the well of having a massive amount of utility in this comp that they seemingly are happy to run just across the entire map pool.
And legitimately, I want to say it's like if it ain't broke, don't fix it, but I don't know if there's been enough results to allow me to believe in that. Broken by situation here for Core in round 5, leading to some quick action front side at A. Timo again A decent counter. Hunter's Fury for Logan is connected once, but Hubert, a couple of crossing angles you thought was going to just suffocate this play from Core, but instead the trades come through for the offense, and now you've got a Viper's wall down with the orb and a chance to set up a pretty solid post plan.
Knight's trying to find this timing now from stairs. Smoke down will allow him to get out safely, not get shot by anyone playing towards rubble. And that arc rose onto site gives them a little bit of info.
Yeah.
They know there's no one playing close.
Yeah, the more space they clear out, so this steel garden can be placed to shut down anyone over towards street. But Darkest has the Rolling Thunder. Knight's able to find one. That pushes Scuba off for the initial defuse. Follow up, though. Knight's just going to re-hop on this again. And it's past halfway. And it's just no one is going to be able to touch this in time for Core Gaming. So once again, Hubert sneak away around right underneath the noses of Core. But in a round that was kind of a broken buy, that really isn't the worst result. It just becomes a little bit more expensive because you do spend the Rolling Thunder for it.
Really just all came down to that steel guard and getting that space that you mentioned and connecting it onto all those players. Darkest just trying to go too quickly off the back of that Rolling Thunder, caught before the gun was even taken out of their hands.
Well, the messy battle over the top of A looked good for a moment for Core Gaming, but not able to capitalize after the post plant. And because of that broken buy in the last round, they're on another broken buy here. So Hubert only going to be kind of limping in with just one Bulldog. Everything else is pretty much full on. Paranoia does connect on Knights, pushing him off the site, but initial damage on the Teemo is pretty solid. And the spike is not on thanks to the shear, so Hubert can rotate over with some speed.
By the time they get there, they're going to have a lot of utility to dump if they want. Try and send in a fault line, missiles, same old story.
Yeah. T-Dog getting ready to go. And that opening from Nismo makes life a little bit easier. Paranoia cuts across for Scuba as he tries to pinch onto the site, and that will work out beautifully. Just down to Logan. Salvo in the corner forces him right into all 5 Hubert members. Flawless on the retake, flawless for the round. Hubert up now 4-2.
Core are going to need to fight for more space after they get the spike down on C. You just cannot allow Hubert to fully set up for these massive util wave retakes. You have to do something to interrupt them. And they kind of tried to. There was one player pushing forward who Nismo got the kill on, but there needs to be more than that. They need to do something to really disrupt Hubert in that setup phase.
Well, Core going to talk about this again. I think the timeline actually tells a pretty compelling story right now. 4 plants, no holds. So the executes have gone well, but the retake presence from Hubert has been pretty much flawless, just outside of the pistol and the anti. So you've got this conversation point now, if you're Core Gaming, of, you know, there've been, I think the biggest thing is there've been a couple of rounds where they've had the option through C to try to play a little bit deeper, whether that be in waterfall or towards back halls, and they've elected to just largely play it in front of the platform. And I think some of that is you do have to respect the fact that Nismo's utility is dangerous in combination with T-Dogs. So you do have to kind of wait for that to come through, but I feel like they've been really pocketed on this C-side post plans that we've seen so far.
Absolutely. No big ults in this round getting out of the timeout. That being said, though, Darkest has the op, where we've gone back to the opping breach well.
Also want to give the quick shout out to that little recon dart body block too that happened in the highlights. Didn't notice that in real time. Pretty big brain. And again, Darkest on this op, man. It's definitely been designed, to put it plainly. Sheer is in the way towards any approach at B. And with good C mound control here, Core really can't step up even if they wanted to. They need to wait for the door to go back down. And they may need to actually throw some utility to C mound just to try to split the focus a touch, because this is not going to feel particularly comfortable. But Darkest is just going to try to trigger the wall and then back down as the defense continues to move.
Not ready yet. Good hit.
Still thrown sent out, broken over towards the A side of the map. This Core want to use this wall, work off of it while it obscures the view from Baby Door. T-Dog might be feeling a lot of pressure in a moment here.
This is on fault line to play off of, though, and that's enough for one. Sidesteps Darkest's touch. But Hubert defensively still hanging on. Timo around the backside, though, has gotten tree controlled. Spike can be collected as Timo is really just playing a 1v everything right now. Overdrive out for Redux. And, oh, nice tracking from Timo. Gets the shutdown plus another. He's on such critical health, but it doesn't make a difference. Nerve following up through drop, able to find one. Doesn't expect that Scuba's playing from the same position, though. Now the teleport back. And Darkest has it up, but he reads the teleport and connects onto Scuba. Core Gaming back to within one.
It is simply outrageous what Timotino is doing for this team. Top fragging again on the third map, coming up with kills that feel impossible to get. Trying to find the headshot onto Redux, rounding the corner at max speed with the overdrive, and then he adjusts to get a second in heaven. Again, on top of that, another round won by Core where they have a man disadvantage. They have converted far too many of those rounds.
Unreal. Well, here we go again. Darkest operator play, just trying to peek over through mid. Not a lot of action through a rubble for one of the first times, but a relay bolt is still tossed out just as a way of considering that there could be a forward defensive play. The big question is, what could Scuba get before he gets overwhelmed? And he only finds one. So now the defense has to move. Stealth drone through mid will put a pause to any offensive rotation for now, and that will actually be enough space for Knight to work his way into the site, or at least around it.
And Dark is still just taking his time, waiting out to see if anyone would push up in towards B. Recon goes deep C, which is offering some good information for Nerve, who is all the way up on Bend. So he knows he can press a little bit forward, won't be in danger. Knights just does not want to take any risk being that low HP.
Good flash, good information on Knights. On top of that, Armageddon gonna come through.
Oh my god.
Snarly
Oh my
able to
god.
get one. Oh, and oh my goodness, the pushback thanks to the aftershock. Nismo is able to catch Snarly, and T-Dog capitalizes onto Nerve, who had nowhere to go. Spike will still be planted. Darkest has to hit. Because otherwise, I just don't see Logan being able to survive through this inevitable flood. But if he can connect onto one and get out, could be huge. And there it is. Darkest able to find the first. Flash from the follow-up. Shoulder comes through. Darkest connects again. And now it's just down to, does he get an angle to stop the defuse from coming through? Aftershock to delay, but Redux finds the elim. Plenty of time to defuse.
I was just hoping that Redux would have made a dash towards the spike, but he expected Darkest to re-swing immediately, shuts him down. Second Armageddon already from Nismo in this half, and both of them have gotten a kill during a C post-plant situation. It's just such a narrow, congested area of the map. It's far too easy to find value with it there. And with the aftershock as well.
Yeah, there's nowhere to go.
With the salvos, like you are so cooked.
Yeah.
That's the abilities don't kill in Project A moment of the match. It's just the truest statement of all time.
Oh, Paranoia trying to save Redux as he was affected by the fault line. Oh, that was a Rosa ult right there. Showstopper immediately pulled and then just tossed blindly to the backside of Mountain, which was already won. So 5v4, but with a limited purchase here for Core and no Showstopper, can Hubert still hang?
How do they respond to this? They have good control over at A. Do they just try and anchor this hard over on C? Probably the only way that they can win this round out. You don't want to play for retake at a disadvantage.
No.
Scuba wants to find a kill. And matter of fact, he could pop his ultimate if he gets one, might be able to escape, and then they could play a 4v4. That's a possible scenario.
Aftershock pushes him off. Page Shell's also suffocating the site. Knight's affected by the fault line. And there's, yeah, this is a really good execute from Core. Every base covered. quick on the rotation from behind is T-Dog, but it's being watched by Logan in a corner. And T-Dog would have to snap here. No, not going to happen. Logan finds the Elim, and Nismo, yeah, he'll just toss out a salvo to see if he can find some sort of a blind connection, but he won't have it. And that is a very efficient round for Core, likely to end in a flawless where everyone upgrades weapons.
Thrifty.
Yep, Darkness, yeah, even cleaning up the last one, has a Rolling Thunder now too. You called it. That was an excellent hit. All the bases covered. Scuba trying to anchor back bend. Aftershock to his right. Nade comes in, and then a Hunter's Fury right on top of him. There's just nowhere to go. The only place he could have teleported to would have been out in the open. So he is just cooked. Great play there from Core. And now they really can carry this momentum over with the Rolling Thunder. They have a pit for a post plant.
Player stand. Thrifty. Down.
How many Thrifties is that in this series now? Is that 4 official?
Too many to count. There's too many to count.
More Thrifties than fingers on a hand. Especially if you live in like Arkansas or something. I don't know.
And after this 6-hour casting marathon, you expect me to count?
Yeah,
I don't think
true.
I could count to 4 if I tried right now.
Aldrone scouting things out to get some sort of a safe approach here at Seamount. It's just pistol upgrades here for Hubert on this defense in round 10.
Timatino grabs the orb. Hubert just not doing anything particularly proactive. They've been using this comp really to play for the Floods. You can get easy control over towards A. There hasn't really been an aggressive mid-round moment for them yet. Core have been able to set up for these C hits pretty much for free.
Oh, that's disgusting. Just a little pop-up. I see you. Spam through the wall. No worries. And for a second, I was about to be really critical. Darkus had the queue up for the Rolling Thunder. I was like, do we really need that to execute in the site after you just broke it down with a fault line and a paint shells combination? And they will save it. And this is likely one of those rounds that comes to an anticlimactic finish as Hubert will look for exit kills or sacrifice themselves to the spike, most likely. That elimination for Redux puts a little bit of pressure here, though, onto the post plant. But again, no proactivity through Waterfall. Looks like Hubert are going to forfeit this.
Time is very much dwindling. You know, maybe T-Dog gets a kill, dies, gets his ult for the next round. That would be a decent consolation.
Well, they're going to give this a go, but no, not going to happen. Trying to stand just on top of the small little curb side of the platform, not going to work out. And we're tied at 5 in the blink of an eye. After a very mixy opening, what was all post-plant retakes for Hubert has now started to go a bit astray, largely thanks to the Thrifty resetting everything, and now we've got a really critical gun round here in round 11.
What I need to see here is Core, everybody buy a shorty. They have tons of cash. Everybody get a shorty. We hit the site with the Rolling Thunder. We get the pit down. The retake comes in with the Steel Garden. Doesn't matter. We all have shorties in the pit. That's what I want to see on this round.
If you call that perfectly, I don't know what I'll do, but I'll do something for you. I'll give you the biggest high five you've ever seen in your life.
If I call that perfectly, my day rate needs to increase by $5.
Well, that's fair.
Maybe even 10.
I would say at least 10.
I appreciate that.
You got it, my guy. Get you that extra McDouble. Hubert setting up for some sort of a contest if there is an execute on towards A with his fault line being queued. You've also got Nismo in a position to watch through small door. So it just comes down to if Core decide to hit this, and maybe in particular, do they want to try to open this up by way of the Rolling Thunder first? Steel Garden gets called though, and ooh, Nerve just barely teleports out away from dodge.
Snarly just praying he doesn't get sprayed down and no one does anything too active before his wall drops. That is a large investment from the Hubert Academy. Does not net a single kill. And it's also made them feel like maybe they're rotating off. And they've kind of
left.
abandoned, but not too much. This is a decent setup, actually, to counter the B-split that's coming in.
Nismo, brother, caught with utility out. Knight's able to save the day, though, from the pitch on the other side. Rolling Thunder to cut right across the B side. I don't think Redux was actually hit by that. No, he's still alive and kicking. But, oh, he gets the read. He's got to rotate back quickly. Sheer comes through. That splits up this offense. Is there enough time to get this spike down? Spike carrier drops. Redux going to separate the site, and the sheer wall still active. What are we watching?
Oh, they've overcooked it. They really overcooked it. I know that when they started running to C, they all realized, oh, we forgot to pop the wall earlier, and we're cooked. Like, they definitely could have just executed into B, but they thought they could bamboozle them, but you can't outrun the Neon. You just can't get to C faster than the Neon. That got a little chaotic. Especially with Nismo also just util out. Heard them running, but for some reason thought they were further away.
Yeah.
Awkward.
And I think there is a level of heroics there from Knights to get 2 on that cross through mid connector from A. That was everything in terms of what Core wanted to get into B. And when those 2 members fall, I feel like they make the panic call of, all right, we got to rotate back over. Lots of utility here, just kind of thrown into the front doors at A main. Hubert going to be happy to hold their ground for a small time. Nice relay bolt from Redux, but not an initial option to find the elimination. Rolling Thunder coming through. Redux just trying to push through this. No one in the corner, though. That is an expensive usage for Hubert to really not get anything.
They used so much util. Commit the ultimate. Still a minute on the clock for Core to play with now.
Razors are out. Scuba's still safe in the corner. Nismo on his cross. Poison Cloud going to be sent in the back left side of the B site. This crossfire is everything, though. And Scuba, oh, his timing here is exquisite. Finds 2, including the spike carrier. Knights now knows he's going to need a little bit of help, and he's going to get it by way of Scuba's utility. At least initially he does, but quickly for the plant. Maybe the Viper's Pit first? No, it's going to be Snarly going for the plant initially, but Hubert are already playing forward, so this Viper's Pit can be challenged very quickly. Snarly spamming finds one, but dealt with. That will fall the green haze. Darkest trying to give enough time for Nerve to come around the back. Good trigger to 1 for 2. Leaves T-Dog by himself. 1v2. First shot's not quite there. Follow-up is good. Now it's down to the 1v1 with Darkest. Major health advantage as well for Darkest as well on top of this. But T-Dog, does he catch an angle to hop on for the defuse? He has not cleared C-Mound. Darkest is playing for the post plant on the corner. Fault line lands. T-Dog has to stick it. Darkest shakes off the effects, find the easy win, and we'll go to a 6-6 half.
Some impressive rounds from both teams, to be honest, and some silly rounds from both teams, which has left us at a dead even scoreline heading into this second half. I'm excited to see what Cuber can do, though, with this composition as far as fighting for that A side of the map, fighting for C early. Because we saw in Haven when they were running with the Neon, excuse me, they had a lot of cool ways to set up Redux early in the rounds for kills. Keep the economy for Cuber pretty low.
Vice?
He doesn't have flash anymore.
Are they funny, eh?
Enemy spotted.
See.
I tried to go
You
down
guys
the
should
wall.
just, bait their wall, something.
Open door.
There's always way like, keep it out.
I think she deep walled it.
No reflash B.
Ugh.